Welcome to round 6 of the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 SuperCup. This round brings us to the beautiful Oulton Park in the Cheshire countryside. And after a triple header at Anglesey in the last round, all won by Abby Eaton, it sees her jump to the top of the pile in the championship, but only 6 points separate her from Tom Roche. So everything to play for. And if that wasn't exciting enough, we have a guest driver here today making his debut in this championship, Paul O'Neill of British touring car fame, both behind the wheel and the microphone. Abby Eaton has pole position with Mike Cumber alongside. Tom Roche and Paul O'Neill on row 2. Matt Davies and Gary Townsend on row 3. Row 4 sees Liam Murphy and Clint Bardwell. Row 5 is John Davies and Adam Brindle. Row 6, Justin Newnham and Stephen Andrew. The 7th row is Christopher Lord and Jeff Gourier. Row 8 is David Whitmore and Jim Hart, and on the 9th and final row is Nicola Gillat and James Aspinall. So an 18-car grid ready to be unleashed. The red lights are on and they're about to be released, and off they go. And it's a great start there from Abby Eaton, and she's going to have the inside line from that pole position, but Mike Cumber is desperate to try and do something as quick as possible, and he does actually have his nose ahead. Is he going to be able to carry some speed through? It's going to be difficult. Oh, and somebody's won very wide there. Can't quite tell the number, and someone's actually spun off there. What a shame. So we've lost a couple of cars running wide there. Stephen Andrew, I think it was, that went wide, number 61, and 27 Jim Hart that actually spun off onto the grass, and he's going to have his work cut out. Fortunately, this is a 20-minute race, so he's got time to do something as they go charging along Lakeside, fanning out all 2, maybe 3 abreast at times there. Tom Roche and Paul O'Neill were side by side as they head towards Shell Oils and round the Island Bend kink into the right-hander of Shell Oils. It's Abby Eaton that has the lead from Mike Cumber. They've had an interesting season together, and it's Tom Roche in 3rd, Paul O'Neill running in that 4th position at the moment, and that looks like Gary Townsend just up in 5th position at the moment, and Matt Davies just behind. So those two have swapped positions from how they started, but there's a lot of time left to go. Liam Murphy keeping a watching eye there, and side by side Abby Eaton's got Mike Cumber just to the left of her, but no, not close enough to get alongside her. But Abby Eaton's a little bit squirrely on the brakes there. Has she been able to get it? She is side by side on the exit, but she's managed to get on the power, and that has now left Mike Cumber under pressure from Tom Roche in the orange, number 25, and Paul O'Neill. He's been around this game long enough that he knows that he's just going to take a watching brief, and if there's the slightest sniff, he's going to be charging through. But as they head up Clay Hill, heading under the trees towards Druids, it's still Abby Eaton. It is then Mike Cumber just holding off Tom Roche, who in turn is just holding off Paul O'Neill. Is this going to be raging for the whole 20 minutes? I don't know whether we can bear this excitement, and we're not the ones behind the wheel. But Abby Eaton and Mike Cumber's looking up the inside, and it looks like he's made that move, a great clean move up the inside, and I think that Tom Roche is going to be able to follow through. Just a slight little bit of contact there as they were both on the brakes, but they're still running side by side as they come across the line. And Paul O'Neill, as we said earlier, he's just taken a watching brief. He's desperate to get involved in this, and he has managed to get past Abby Eaton. And he was trying to take Tom Roche at the same time. He was trying to take 2 positions in one stretch there, but not quite. He just ran a little bit wide, and in fact running onto the grass has just cost him a little bit of momentum, and Abby Eaton is looking to come back but is on the outside. There we've got car number 91, Matt Davies, who looks like he's managed to get past Gary Townsend. In fact, Gary Townsend has lost a couple of positions there because Liam Murphy has snuck up as well. Paul O'Neill is still side by side with Abby Eaton all the way through Cascades, along Lakeside, Island Bend, into Shell Oils, and then of course next we've got the Britain's chicane. That's probably not a side-by-side corner, so this has to get sorted out before we get into this chicane, and it does, and it is Paul O'Neill that drags himself through, and he's made that count. Wow, what a great series of corners there for Paul O'Neill. He thought he was going to jump up to 2nd at one time, but Mike Cumber has the lead at the moment in the red and white car. 2nd is the all-orange car of Tom Roche, car number 25. 3rd is Paul O'Neill. 4th, Abby Eaton. Then a bit of a gap back to Matt Davies, having a fairly lonely race, but it's not lonely for anyone behind him. And you see that car number 34 there is Clint Bardwell's managed to move himself up past Gary Townsend, so that's a good move up there. Just behind we've got 93 John Davies in the silver car, and he's being put under pressure himself. And here we go. Oh, and we've got a duel going on by the two black cars. I think that we'll find that's Christopher Lord and Stephen Andrew. Didn't quite catch the numbers on them, but we'll see them as they come round next time, because I don't think that's a duel that's going to be over any time soon. And we've got a change at the front. Something happens at the front there. Tom Roche is in the lead, and Mike Cumber is desperately trying to hold on to third, let alone second, but he does manage to hold Paul O'Neill off. So Tom Roche, the all-orange car, has got himself firmly up in the lead at the moment. And I don't think this is over. Abby Eaton has managed to get a good run out of Lodge, and she is all the way up. Dear Leap carried that pace, but is she going to be on the outside for Old Hall? We'll have to wait and see as the camera pans back towards the ongoing duels behind, and that is Gary Townsend trying to defend like Billy-O from number 68 there. That's Justin Newnham, so Justin Newnham's come up through the grid pretty well. Oh, take a breath for a second. There we go. Matt Davies is able to take a bit of a breath, because as he comes through Cascades, he's having a fairly lonely race. Probably in the best seat in the house, watching this ongoing battle between these four at the front that I don't think is going to be over any time soon. It's being held at the moment by the orange car of Tom Roche. Remember that Tom Roche is second in the championship. Abby Eaton leading the way, only 6 points separating them, so neither of them want to fall out of this one at all. You see there. Justin Newnham still managing to hold off Gary Townsend, car number 223, just putting pressure on number 68, Justin Newnham. Gary Townsend is going to be looking to try and get back ahead of Justin Newnham, because Justin Newnham was 5 places behind him on the grid. So quite an eventful opening few laps there for Gary Townsend. Remember, this is a 20-minute race. Back towards the front group as they go through Hislops, through Knickerbrook, and head up Clay Hill. It is still Tom Roche from Mike Cumber, from Abby Eaton, from Paul O'Neill, then the slightly lonely Matt Davies, but that's so close and tight. I don't suppose he's too disappointed that he's getting to let the others have the fight. That said, you often find the drivers when they finish their races with a massive grin on their face. They do love to fight. In fact, it's spread out in this group just behind as well, that we saw pretty close together for a good while. And that's Liam Murphy. Oh, and we've got Mike Cumber trying to make a move, but a great defensive line by Tom Roche. He just put his car firmly in the middle as they approach Lodge Corner from Warwick Bridge, and just left really nowhere for Cumber to go. And you'll see that actually Paul O'Neill has dropped away from the four at the moment, and Abby Eaton is trying to find a way past Mike Cumber, and Mike Cumber in turn is still trying to find a way past Tom Roche. And Paul O'Neill, probably wisely at this stage, is just dropping back and taking a watching brief, taking a breath. He's a wily old character, so we know that he's going to come back into this at some time soon. And if it's as difficult for them to maintain their levels of excitement as it is for us in the commentary box, I'm not surprised that he needs to just take a break. At the moment is Abby Eaton looking as they go through the left sweep of Ireland as they come along Lakeside. Great move there, carried the pace all the way from Cascades there, all the way along Lakeside, round Shallows. Abby Eaton moves herself up into that second position. Great move there. That probably started 2 corners ago, and she was able to carry that pace all the way on to the Lakeside. She is up into that second, and the good news for her is that Mike Cumber is actually having to look behind, because Paul O'Neill has had enough of his breather and he's back up involved in this 4-way tussle at the front. And so Mike Cumber knows that he's got to defend from this hard-driving BTCC legend Paul O'Neill all over the back of him. So Paul O'Neill in the white car with the red and blue stripes on it. Mike Cumber there in the distinctive red and white. Glued together. There's not even a car length between them. Tom Roche is he's the one that's actually getting a breather, but this time at the front. So as they come through Druids under the trees, sort of a double apex really at Druids, and then there you'll see going under Warwick Bridge, head down towards Lodge Corner. We got Paul O'Neill looking up the inside of Mike Cumber. Is he going to make the move? Yes, he has, and is it cleanly completed? Mike Cumber is not making it easy for him. He was actually bravely hanging on all the way, and he's going to have the left-hand kink of Deer Leap. Is he going to be able to carry it as they come across the line? It will have been Paul O'Neill that would have crossed that timing line first, but there won't have been much in it. Paul O'Neill now has the inside line as they come into Old Hall, and he's managed to make it stick. So great performance there. That's Adam Brindle looking to close in on the Christopher Lord, Stephen Andrew battle. He's been watching those two go side by side for a good while. Just ahead of them is car number 2, which is James Aspinall. So James Aspinall started last on the grid, and I would envisage that he's probably running up in something like 10th, 11th position at the moment. So that's a great performance by James Aspinall. I would imagine every chance he had a bit of a problem. And there we go. We've got number 16, Adam Brindle, was just trying to have a little bit of a look up the inside of Stephen Andrew, car number 61. It wasn't quite on as they came down into Cascades, but he wants to get involved. He wants to split these black cars. It is number 10 that's ahead of this trio, Christopher Lord. 61 is Stephen Andrew, but Adam Brindle in the green and white car is joined this party well and truly as they go round Shell Oil's hairpin. Get back on the power, heading towards the Britain chicane. It is number 16 that is putting all the pressure on. So Adam Brindle trying to close in on number 61, Stephen Andrew. And has he got enough power as they go up over Hilltop? Great position from the other side of here. As you see now, they just suddenly come charging into your view down the hill towards Hislops, or Hizzies as it's known locally. And it is Brindle that's moving up the inside. Big lock up. Is he going to get it stopped in time? He has. How did he get that stopped? I was convinced he was going onto the grass and he was going to cut the chicane, and somehow he's kept that on the black stuff. A fantastic move. Last of the late breakers. Well done, Adam Brindle. That was an outstanding move. And he's now split the black cars. So it is. His next target is number 10, Christopher Lord. Is he going to be able to close in on him, or is Stephen Andrew going to come back at him again? There's car number 71, so Jeff Gurrier. He's got a good view at the moment, just off the back of them at the moment, but is he going to be able to close in on car number 61, Stephen Andrew, that is now just ahead of him? As they come round to complete yet another lap, as they head up the Deer Leap rise onto the start-finish straight. Cross the line to complete yet another lap in this 20-minute race. We're about half race distance at the moment, and what an exciting opening half of the race this has been. And the great news is we've got another race to look forward to here at Oulton Park today as well. Wow, if it's even half as exciting as this opening race, then we're in for an absolute treat. They come down the avenue, Dentons into Cascades. And we're looking at this ongoing tussle for about not 10th, 11th, 12th. Oh, and we're back towards the front now, and look at this. Tom Roche is under massive pressure from Abby Eaton. We knew that these guys wouldn't stay quiet for very long as they come over Hilltop down towards Hizzies. It is Tom Roche that's having to take a very defensive line because he knows that Abby Eaton has the speed. She has the skills to be able to make a move, so he's got to close that door. Tom Roche there's a reason why he's close in on that championship. He knew to take the defensive line, but he managed to pull it off without losing any of his own speed through the Hislop chicane, through the right-hander of Knickerbrook, up Clay Hill, heading towards Druids. It is still Tom Roche, just about from Abby Eaton, but look at this. Abby Eaton is desperate to find a way. One side, then the other. She knows that there's got to be a way that she can get past. And just behind is Paul O'Neill running in that third. Mike Cumber is in fourth at the moment, but expect him to join the party at the front very soon. Tom Roche again just about taking a defensive line from Abby Eaton. And look at this, these two are battling so hard it has enabled Paul O'Neill to close in as they go through Lodge, through Deer Leap, up onto the start-finish straight. And it looks to me as though Paul O'Neill may be the one that's got the best run at the moment, and he's going to be able to switch up the inside of Abby Eaton, who was trying to get round the outside of Tom Roche, and that's Costa, and Mike Cumber is looking to dive up the inside. Both Paul O'Neill and Abby ran wide on the exit of Old Hall there. That will have compromised them both. So as Mike Cumber, I said that he would be keen to join the party. I think we'll find that he's managed to dive up the inside as he heads down the avenue towards Cascades again. Whew. And there is number 68, Justin Newman. Just behind is the 223 car of Gary Townsend. They've been pretty much about that sort of, about 3 or 4 car lengths split between them, maximum, for quite a while. We did see that we had, here we go, the 2 black cars, so we've actually lost Brindle. Brindle doesn't appear to be there with them at the moment, unless was that him in front of them. But we've got number 10, Christopher Lord, just holding off Stephen Andrew, number 61 at the moment. But I'm sure we've lost Brindle somewhere. At the moment, Tom Roche has managed to clear off into the distance again. So for the second time, he's managed to break this chasing trio, and in fact they're tied up with each other so much that just behind them we've got the grey car of Matt Davies. Car 91 is closing in on. And we got contact there, and Mike Cumber seemed to just move over to the left. We saw that as Abby Eaton was coming down the hill. She was in a straight line with that white line, and the two of them were absolutely side by side as they came onto the brakes for Hislops. And I can only assume that Mike Cumber didn't see that Abby Eaton was alongside him as they got onto the brakes. Just seemed to move over to the left. Abby Eaton had nowhere to go. She was already over on that white line, and there seemed to be contact, and it's thrown him in. So that's made it into a three-way battle. Well, two at the moment, because Tom Roche has managed to pull away. Mike Cumber's going to be absolutely devastated with that. Has it done any damage to the front of Abby Eaton's car? She's probably going to be a bit bemused as exactly what happened there. But she's still on the back of Paul O'Neill at the moment, and Tom Roche has probably got a massive smile on his face that he'll have seen that there was contact in that group behind him, and that he's got probably, 10 car length gap at the moment? It's the first time we've seen a gap that size. Now, is he going to be able to maintain that to the end of the race? That's the thing with this MX-5 Super Cup, is that this has got to be the closest one-make current production series in the country. And probably pound for pound for the cost of it, it's got to be the closest, most affordable. Someone's pulling into the pits there. Was that Mike Cumber? I think that was Mike Cumber that just managed to get himself going but pulled into the pit. So he has not been able to withstand the contact with the front of Abby's car and the metal barrier, unsurprisingly. Number 10 there, Christopher Lord, still holding off Stephen Andrew. And we've got sort of probably about 3/4 of the way through, so that's going to be really frustrating for Mike Cumber, that he was probably 5 minutes away from the checker flag in his 20-minute race. So he was 3/4 of the way through and just moved over to the left and not realising that Abby was alongside him. Such a shame. Here coming down hilltop towards Hizzies again with the polystyrene everywhere from that contact on the previous lap. We see that Tom Roche is still in the lead. Paul O'Neill probably at the moment is able to focus on the orange car in front of him of Tom Roche at the moment, not worry too much about Abby Eaton in his mirrors, because there's a reasonable gap. She's not out of contention with Paul O'Neill by any stretch of the imagination, but he's not having to go defensive. He's able to look ahead. Is he going to be able to close in on Tom Roche? That's quite a dominant lead that Tom Roche has got at the moment. That incident has kind of blasted them apart, but we've probably got about another, if I guess, 3 laps left to go, I would suspect. So as they come through Lodge Corner, through Deer Leap onto the start-finish straight to start yet another lap, it is Tom Roche from Paul O'Neill, from Abby Eaton, and then the grey car of Matt Davies, now in that 4th position. So he's done a great job there. I wonder whether he had a suspicion that there could be an incident between cars above. They were that close, joined together, going 2 abreast as often as they possibly could. Coming down the avenue, Denton's into Cascades, the left-hander of Cascades. It is still Tom Roche, Paul O'Neill, Abby Eaton, Matt Davies. That's your front 4 in this race. Head along the beautiful lakeside, using in the full-length circuit here. Around the left-hand sweep of Ireland, where sometimes they turn to the right there. Oh, and we've got a car off there. I think that was Clint Bardwell, car number 34. So unfortunately, another retirement there. Clint Bardwell, car number 34, is pulled off just on the entry to Shell Oil's hairpin. So I don't think it's going to cause any great issue there. So hopefully no safety car there. They can continue fighting for the next 3 minutes of this race. So we may actually be on a penultimate lap. I think this is their penultimate lap. Next time through they'll get the last lap board, and that gap has closed up. Tom Roche's lead has pretty much evaporated at the moment. Or is it more appropriate to say, as they go through Knickerbrook up Clay Hill, that Paul O'Neill has been able to focus on the back of that orange car of Tom Roche? He has enabled himself to close in dramatically. He's probably got about a lap and a quarter remaining. Is it going to be able to do anything about this before the checkered flag? They go through Druids, They go under Warwick Bridge, heading towards Lodge Corner for the penultimate time. They will get the last lap board as they come round this time. And definitely look at that, there's at most a car's length between them. A great performance by Paul O'Neill. Remember, there's a reason why Tom Roche is second in the championship, and yet Paul O'Neill has managed to close in massively on the leader now, and he's looking one way or the other. Very defensive line there from Tom Roche. Is that going to compromise him on the exit as they go through Old Hall? Possibly not, because Paul O'Neill was kind of jinking from side to side, so even he probably wasn't taking the fastest line, and he's being forced to go on the outside as they head down the avenue in towards Cascades. Is Paul O'Neill going to sweep round the outside? That's asking a bit much on the outside through Cascades. That's quite a tricky corner coming down the hill on the brakes. But he's tucked himself back inside and he's looking, he's getting himself positioned. Is he going to be on the inside for Shell Oils? He's definitely got him onto that right-hand side. Is he alongside? No, he's back on the brakes again. I think he knows, well, it was the left-hand kink, first of all, don't forget, of Ireland. And now they're into the right-hander of Shell Oils for the final time. It is Tom Roche, just about from Paul O'Neill. And look at this, again, as is so often the case. They're so close together that they have enabled Abby Eaton to close in as well. And this is rapidly becoming a three-car train, as these three have been joined, albeit with the fourth one in Mike Comber at times as well, for most of this race. And look at that, Paul O'Neill jinking one side to the other. Is he going to get himself alongside here? Again, a great defensive move by Tom Roche, because Paul O'Neill's on the outside. There's not a lot that he's going to be able to do there. What is he going to be able to pull off? He's getting on the power as soon as he can on the exit of Hislops through Knickerbrook, but actually Abby Eaton is the one that's got the best run through there, so she's closed right in on Paul O'Neill. Has that left it a little bit too late for Paul O'Neill, because he's now got to beware of Abby Eaton just behind him? But no, he's all over the back of Tom Roche. He's definitely looking to take this victory as they go through Druids. Is he going to be able to make a move? Surely the last opportunity is Lodge Corner. Is he going to be able to do it? Paul O'Neill from just up the road. Is he going to be able to pull something off? Again, a great defensive line by Tom Roche. That's got to be too late now as they accelerate out of Lodge up Deer Leap. But Paul O'Neill's looking towards the outside. Is he going to be able to outdrag him to the line? There's the checkered flag. And look at them, they're side by side. And would you believe it, Paul O'Neill took the victory by .031. What an incredible race, and that was an outstanding last drag there by Paul O'Neill. Takes the victory, Tom Roche in second, but only .031 behind. Abby Eaton in third, and you saw how close she was. Matt Davies in fourth, Liam Murphy in fifth, sixth was John Davies, seventh Justin Newnham, eighth Gary Townsend, James Aspinall up to 9th, a great performance there. 10th, Christopher Lord. Steve and Andrew in 11th. We saw those two join together. And Adam Brindle in 12th. 13th was Jeff Gurrier. 14th, David Whitmore. 15th, Jim Hart. And 16th was Nicola Gillette. That was your 16 finishers out of the 18 starters.